Hi everyone, this is Adrian at 18 Echo SF. I decided to make a video and talk to you about the gun class that my wife and son went to last weekend, and something that I noticed while she was taking the class. I've been through a couple of courses at this same school. It's called International Tactical Training Seminars, commonly referred to as ITTS, and it's owned by a 30-year Los Angeles Police Department SWAT and Metro Unit guy named Scott Reitz and his wife Brett McQueen. All of the instructors are current LAPD SWAT officers. It's a fantastic school. It has to be one of the top schools in the U.S. I realize all the other ones may be better known, like Gunsight and Thunder Ranch and Tiger McKee's Shoot Right in Langston, Alabama. Paul House, CSAT. But this school I happened to find out about from Tiger McKee, who's one of the most respected gun trainers in America. And I went through a number of courses, and then last year I actually sent my wife through the all-women's course. And then for Christmas this year I gave she and our son a defensive handgun 1 course, which they took last weekend. It was really fantastic. There were 22 people in the class, 5 women, and a wide range of ages from early 20s up to my wife, who was the oldest person in the class. She's 65 years old. And a pretty tough girl. However, my wife has the most extreme form of rheumatoid arthritis that you can get. It's called psoriatic arthritis. She's had it since she was 18 years old, and it's a pretty devastating type of disease to have. But she's lived with it and has to take medication all the time, and every 7 weeks she goes for an intravenous infusion at our hospital's outpatient clinic of a drug called Remicade, and that kind of staves off the progression of the arthritis. But my wife loves shooting. She loves going to these classes, and she wants to continue going. And of course, I encourage that. In this day and age, we all need to be diligent and trained as well as we possibly can, for any problems that might occur, so that we can protect ourselves and our family. At this point in our lives, it's just my wife and I, but we have a home to take care of, and though we live in a nice area, it doesn't really matter today. Just within a mile of my home last week, a woman was taking a nap in the afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon, and some guy broke into her bedroom and attacked her. So, for all those reasons, it's good to stay sharp. And as some of you may know previously, I was United States Army Special Forces, a commo and weapons guy, and but that was back in my young years, and now I'm just an old guy. I'm the average old shooter whose eyes are going, my balance is going a bit, I'm just not as strong as I used to be. So I think it's even more important to stay on top of training and go at least once a year, and to a variety of schools as well, because I do believe that it's really good to get training from different perspectives. I just found out about another trainer. His name's Frank Proctor, former Army Special Forces like I, and he's also a USPSA competition shooter, and I just got his video yesterday, and it is absolutely fantastic. He also teaches. So, there's a wide range of instructors throughout the U.S., and I would highly recommend to anybody who's watching this video that you think about going to a class. And if you're in the California area or nearby in a neighboring state, Nevada, Arizona, Oregon, and you should think about coming to ITTS. It's really fabulous. So the purpose of this video, it has to do with my wife. There is something that I noticed at the school I wasn't shooting. I was the taxi driver and the food getter for lunch. So I just sat in our vehicle, and our car happened to be parked behind where they were shooting, and I had full view of the line of all the shooters. And I was right behind my wife and my son, so I could see them perfectly clear. And I noticed something that my wife was doing that we have now taken steps to correct, and I'm just going to show you what it is. By the way, this was my wife's target from 3, 5, and 7 yards that they shot all day long, and she did very, very well. My wife has a really great eye, and she shoots a timber stainless target too, 9mm. So it's really a great gun. So anyway, I have this is a holster from A Holster. I did a video on it once before, and you know, it's like a concealment type holster. It rides real high, and my wife has a Blade Tech holster that rides as high. And you know, so when I go to the gun to draw, you know, I want you to watch my body, okay? Because you'll notice that I am standing straight up and down, and you know, ready, kind of in a fighting position, you know, and I'm balanced well. And when I go to the gun, you know, and pull it up on target, you'll notice my upper body does not move very much. So, you know, it stays vertical. So to the gun comes out. Okay, so now I want to show you what I noticed my wife doing. I have to turn around to show you this from the back because this is what I was seeing. So I noticed when they instructed them to draw the weapons, my wife would do this every time. She would lean, pull the gun, and then straighten back up. So again, they would tell them to draw their weapons. She immediately leaned and pulled out. So I realized that because of her arthritis, it was a little more difficult for her to, you know, get to the gun without leaning. So I was thinking, how could this be corrected? And then I remembered that Blade Tech makes a drop offset holster attachment that will take the holster and move it out about that much and drop it about this far. So she would be able to get to the gun without having to lean to get her hand up next to the side of her chest. And I think this will help her dramatically. Hasn't arrived yet. It's been shipped, and as soon as it comes, I'm going to attach it to her holster, and then I'll do another video and I'll put the holster on and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if you have any friends that you see doing this, or women, of course, that they have usually wider hips than we do, so in the guns, when they ride into their waist, of course, make it a little more difficult for them to get into it. So it could be advantageous to look at something like this. You know, a lot of guys that go to these defensive courses, they use, you know, drop leg rigs, you know, drop leg holster rigs. I'm sorry, and you know, so the gun rides really low down on the upper part of the thigh, but that's not really the purpose of doing this. It's just so she can have the gun on her hip, but be extended out from her body just a little bit. So after it comes, I'll install it, I'll put it on, I'll show you what I mean, and then the video after that, I'm going to do a review of Frank Proctor's handgun video, which is really, really excellent. So as in the past, stay well and safe out there, folks.